Hello there, very good evening. Welcome to another edition of Primetime News on TV1. We're coming to you live and direct from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. Voting for the local government election concluded at 4 p.m. today. Counting of the votes are currently underway. Several results have also been released, but many of the results are still yet to be released. Newsfirst has been initiated, of course, in this morning, a special broadcast in line of the local government election, and this special broadcast will continue. We are bringing you first and fast from Stein Studios in Ratmalana, but more on that during Primetime News on TV1 tonight. I'm Charlotte Benedict for the Newsfirst team.
And I'm Rochelle Pramodara. Before we take a look at all of these details, news in detail, let's first take a look at your headlines for tonight.
Voting for the local government election concludes. Counting underway. Newsfirst ready with all the updates. First and fast special election coverage. Police urged public to remain peaceful as results are released. Embrace the light of Buddhist philosophy to build a peaceful world, says President in Vietnam, addressing the UN Wesak Day celebration.
The local government election Sri Lanka 2025.
As part of the 2025 local government elections, the people of Sri Lanka exercised their democratic right to vote and elect 8,287 representatives to 339 local government institutions across the country. Now, Newsfirst launched its special election broadcast at 6:30 a.m. today, live from the Newsfirst headquarters in Braybrook Place, Colombo. And a dedicated team of journalists, regional correspondents and youth reporters have been deployed across the island to deliver real-time updates and comprehensive coverage.
And of course, we did provide you with the comprehensive coverage and how the election progressed today. Now it's time for the results. However, the counting of ballots is still underway, and Newsfirst, first and fast, coming to you live from Stein Studios, Ratmalana, is also ongoing. It's being telecast on Sirasa TV, Shakti TV, as well as TV1, and you can also access the first and fast telecast from our social media platforms on Facebook and YouTube. Now, the first official results have already come out. Much more results are coming out. And our official broadcasting center, the election broadcasting center, is all set up at Stein Studios, Ratmalana, to bring you the very latest. We're not only bringing you results of the local government election, but an in-depth analysis of how the voter turnout has been. There has been no final tally on the overall voter turnout for the local government election. However, we've got the voter tally for several independent localities on how voter turnout was today. Not only voter turnout, but how voters have voted at the local government election is also being looked into at the in-depth analysis that is being provided to you on First and Fast, our live election broadcast of the local government election 2025. And of course, we've got experts on this panel that is breaking down to the very essence of the election and how voters in Sri Lanka have behaved at the 2025 local government election. Of course, as more and more election results continue to pour in, you will get a more in-depth analysis on how the tides have turned here in Sri Lanka. This is the third election that Sri Lanka is having in a very, very short time span. And of course, how the voters have behaved at this election will be a telltale sign of where the general public are looking towards in the future. Of course, as we said before, throughout the day we provided you an in-depth reporting on how things were progressing as far as the local government election is concerned. We had 3 special teams from our Newsfirst headquarters that were deployed to Colombo, Gampaha as well as Jaffna to monitor the situation on the ground. We brought to you expert insights on the local government election from election observers, from of course the returning officers, law enforcement authorities, and also the senior officials of the Election Commission. The overall essence or the ambience of the election today was peaceful, without any major incident, and that's why the Election Commission themselves have confirmed that the 2025 local government election concluded peacefully. Now, issuing a statement to the media this evening, Elections Commission Chairman RML Ratnayaka provided clarity on the vote counting process and the procedure that will be employed to announce results.
උදේ 7ට ආරම්භ වුණු ඡන්ද විමසීමේ කටයුතු පසරු 4 දක්වා ඉතාමත්ම සාමකාමීව බාධාවකින් තොරව පැවතුණු
The Election Commission has confirmed that the voting process, which commenced at 7 am and concluded at 4 pm, was conducted peacefully and without any reported disturbances. Vote counting began promptly at the respective polling centres. For this election, the counting and announcement of results will take place within each electorate. Once counting is complete, the results will be compiled at a central location within the electorate and announced as the results for that area. Following this, the results will be transferred to a designated location within the district, where the final results for the local authorities election will be prepared. And these results will include the number of members elected from each political party and independent group. Once finalized, the results will be submitted to the Election Commission for approval. Upon approval, the district returning officer will officially announce the result, which will then be released to the public through the media. The Election Commission urges the public to remain calm and patient until the official results are announced. Gathering at counting centres or any other related locations is strictly prohibited. Security has been heightened, with the Sri Lanka police maintaining order. The Special Task Force and the military are also on standby and may be deployed if necessary. The Election Commission assures that all necessary measures have been taken to ensure a smooth and transparent results process.
සියලු කටයුතු සාමකාමීව සිදු වී යනවා. ප්‍රතිඵල ලැබුණු විගස ප්‍රකාශයට පත් කිරීමට මැතිවරණ කොමිසම සභාව සියලු කටයුතු යොදා තිබේ.
Now, the district returning officers have reported that the voter turnout percentage for this election stands at a positive number. Meanwhile, vote counting is progressing smoothly across the island. Newsfirst correspondents on the ground fully prepared to deliver timely and accurate updates as results begin to emerge.
We have been bringing to you the latest updates from the 2025 local government election as soon as the voting process commenced this morning at 7 am. Now, the counting of votes are currently underway, and the counting of votes began right after the voting process concluded at 4 pm this evening. According to the information that we have gathered, we have understood that there was a very positive turnout of voters throughout the election day, and as you can see, there's heightened security deployed at these counting centres to make sure that a very fair counting process is currently taking place for the 2025 local government election. And we have also noticed that election officials now, in the Colombo electoral district, over 17,000 election officials were deployed for these election duties, and we can also witness that these election officials are carrying out their part of election duties very diligently to make sure that there is a very fair counting process taking place island-wide as well. Now, stay tuned as we will be bringing to you the latest updates about the counting process of the 2025 local government election, and stay tuned to our first and fast live election results broadcast for the latest updates on the results of the 2025 local government election. Reporting to you from Colombo, I am Hashini Pathirana with Laknawan.
Vote counting is currently underway in the Western Province. Colombo District Returning Officer Prasanna Ginigi stated that the voter turnout percentage is between 52% and 55%.
Approximately 52 to 55% of voters have cast their ballots so far. Vote counting has now commenced at polling stations. We anticipate releasing the first set of local government election results by midnight. There were around 200 postal voting divisions, and the results from these will be released together with the overall local government results rather than separately.
Gampaha District Returning Officer Lalinda Gamage stated that results are expected to be released as soon as possible.
The voting process was conducted peacefully. In the Gampaha district, there are 1,252 polling stations with 403 designated for vote counting. The officers in charge of each polling station will transport the ballot boxes to these counting centres, where the counting process will commence. Our aim is to complete the counting as swiftly as possible and release the results promptly.
Anuradhapura District Returning Officer Ranjit Vimalasuriya stated that 60% of registered voters have cast their ballots. In the Kurunegala district, the reported voter turnout stands at 55% according to the district returning officer. Galle district, the voter turnout has been recorded at 63%. In the Nureli district, a turnout of 60% has been reported. In the Polonnaru district, the reported voter turnout is 64%. In the Ratnapura district, voter turnout has been recorded at 60%.
President Andhra Kumara Dissanayake cast his vote at the local government election this afternoon upon returning to the island after concluding his official visit to Vietnam.
President Andhra Kumara Dissanayake cast his vote at the polling station set up at the Abhay Singharama temple in Panchgavatta.
මැතිවරණ කටයුතු කොහොමද ඔබතුමාට හිතෙන විදිය හොඳ සුබවාදීව තියනවද?
මම හිතන්නේ තාම සාර්ථක මැතිවරණ ව්‍යාපාරයක් දියත් කරා.
I believe we carried out a very successful election campaign. We are confident that we will receive a very good and successful result.
අපිට තිබෙනවා.
ජයග්‍රහණය භුක්ති විඳින ජනතාවට මොකක්ද ඔබතුමා දෙන පණිවිඩය?
මම හිතන්නේ ලංකාවේ දේශපාලන අලුත් සංස්කෘතියක් නිර්මාණය වෙලා තිබෙනවා.
I believe a new political culture has emerged in Sri Lanka. During the last presidential and parliamentary elections, the people of this country celebrated victory in a very peaceful manner. That is extremely important. Democracy must be affirmed not only during the campaign but also after the election. Therefore, just as the people acted responsibly during the presidential and parliamentary elections, we believe they will do the same after this local government election. We are confident that peace will be well maintained even after this election.
ඉතා හොඳින් ආරක්ෂා වන තත්ත්වයක් මේ පළාත් පාලන මැතිවරණයෙන් පසුවත් ඉටු වෙන බව විශ්වාසයි.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya cast her vote this morning at the polling station located at the Samruddhi building in Mirihana.
We are going to win. There is absolutely no doubt about that. Based on the feedback we received from people across the country during our campaign, the Compass will win today.
ජයග්‍රහණය කරනවා. පළාත් සභා මැතිවරණය පිළිබඳවත් මේ වසරේදී බලාපොරොත්තුවක් තියාගන්න පුළුවන්ද ජනතාවට කොහොමද? ඒක අපි පුළුවන් තරම්.
We want to hold them as soon as possible. I believe we've already had 3 elections within 3 months. The people are ready. We need to allocate the necessary funds. But we must hold the provincial council elections, a vote that hasn't been held in years, as soon as we can.
ගණනාවක තිබෙන්නේ නැති මේ මැතිවරණයක් තියන්න ඕනේ ඉස්සරහට.
ගණනාවක කරා මැතිවරණයේදී ගැඩුවයි කියලා.
මැතිවරණ නීති උල්ලංඝනය කිරීමේ අදහසකින් නෙවෙයි
I had absolutely no intention of violating election laws. What I said was that our official campaign activities must end, and I said that clearly. If there was any violation on my part, I believe the Election Commission should take the necessary action. It doesn't matter whether it's the Prime Minister or anyone else. The law applies to all of us.
Opposition leader and Samgi Jan Balawegya leader Sajith Premadasa cast his vote this morning at the Vivekarame Purana Viharaya in Kottegoda, Rajagiriya.
It is essential that all of us come together to uphold a free, fair and democratic election. We must respect the verdict and the will of the people, as expressed through the democratic process. In the post-election period, it is equally important to preserve peace, uphold democratic values and create space for diverse opinions. We must ensure that democracy is practiced with discipline and without violating electoral laws. That is the collective of hope of all citizens. We believe this is the beginning of a new era, one where we are ready to lead the way in rebuilding our villages, towns and the nation.
Former President Ranil Wickremesinghe cast his vote this morning. That was at the polling centre located at the University of Colombo.
අපි දැන් ඉංගලන්තේ වාගේ ඉතා දියුණු ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදී ක්‍රමයක් කවුරුත් එන්නේ නැහැ ඡන්ද දෙන්න.
ඒ කියන්නේ මේ ඡන්ද දෙන පිරිස අඩු වෙලයි කියලාද?
ඔව් අඩු වෙලානේ. මම මේ තනියම ගියා. අපේක්ෂකෝ 75000ක් ඉන්නවා. ඉතින් ඡන්දදායකයින් මිලියන 17කට ඒ කියන්නේ හැම 200ටම එක අපේක්ෂකයෙක් ඉන්නවා.
ඔබතුමා විශ්වාස කරන්නේ ඇයි මේ ප්‍රතිශතය අඩු වෙනවා කියලා? ඔබතුමා විශ්වාස කරන්නේ මොකක්ද හේතුව?
ජනතාවට ඡන්ද එපා වෙලාද නැත්නම්
නෑ ජනතාවට ඡන්දය එපා වෙලා නැති. ඊටු ටික ඔයගොල්ලෝ ඔක්කොම කියනවනේ මගෙන් අහන්නේ. ඡන්දදායකයන් අහන්නේ මම කියන්නේ.
Sri Lanka Podujana Perumal's national organizer Namal Rajapaksa cast his vote this morning at the D.A. Rajapaksa National School in Madamulana, Tangol. Shiranti Rajapaksa was also present.
I believe as a party we are in a strong position. When you compare the challenges we faced in recent times, the last time we won 20 out of 24 local councils, but we couldn't form the councils. So in this local government election, the outcome will be decided after the vote. When we get the opportunity to work, we don't hesitate. We will discuss with the party and based on the results, decide how we conduct ourselves politically during the remaining period. Is forming a government something that should be decided during an election? What we must do today is fight to ensure justice for the people. We are not abandoning that fight.
Kumar Gunaratnam of the Jana Aragale Sandhana cast his vote at the St. Joseph's Girls' School polling centre in Kegol.
People came with high hopes for real change, but now they are faced with the question, is this just a return to the old patterns of change? That question has emerged. Over the past 7.5 decades, we have seen the contrast between the promises made before coming to power and the reality after gaining power. People initially hoped for a real difference. We raised doubts about that, but I don't think those doubts were truly heard. Now we are facing that reality. That's why we believe in building a government that truly represents the people with the real people's power. That's the struggle we continue to fight.
ජනතාවගේම වෙච්ච ආණ්ඩුවක් හදාගන්න ජනතාවගේම වෙච්ච රජයක් ගොඩනගා ගන්නත් එක්ක අපිට මේ සටන තියෙයි දිගටම.
Former President Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga cast her vote at the polling centre located at the Sri Shrestha Rama Viharaya in Nittambuwa. Sarva Janabala leader Dilip Jayavira cast his vote at the polling centre set up at the Sri Chandra Rama Viharaya in Mirihana.
Those who once proudly displayed stickers on their three-wheelers and fought in offices and trains for their party, well, we can't even call them party loyalists anymore. Those very voters are now in a difficult place. But whether they will retreat this quickly or not, I feel there's a real question there. Let's see whether the outcome of this election proves my reading right or wrong.
The local government election Sri Lanka 2025.
President Andrukumara Dissanayake, speaking in Vietnam today, called upon the world to draw inspiration from the teachings of Buddhism to foster peace, development and mutual respect among all nations. He made these remarks while delivering the keynote address at the United Nations Vesak Day celebrations held in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam.
The 20th United Nations Day of Vesak celebrations commenced in Vietnam, with Sri Lankan President Anurakkumara Dissanayake participating as a chief guest. The theme of this year's celebration is Unity and Inclusivity for Human Dignity, Buddhist Insights for World Peace and Sustainable Development. Reflecting on Vietnam's history, the President praised the country as a remarkable example of resilience, having endured centuries of suffering and emerged with strength and dignity. He noted that despite being subjected to some of the most devastating chemical attacks in history, Vietnam has risen with pride and is now recognized as a nation of determination. President Dissanayake emphasized that the Buddha's teachings on the middle path have become increasingly relevant in today's world, offering practical guidance for global harmony. The President called upon the global community to embrace the light of the Buddha's teachings and the essence of Buddhist philosophy in order to build a world where the fires of war are extinguished, peace prevails, societies are filled with love, and lives are guided by compassion. He emphasized that such values are essential for fostering peace, development, and mutual respect among all nations and peoples. The United Nations Vesak Day celebrations will continue until the 8th of May, with participation from approximately 2,800 delegates representing 85 countries and regions, including high-level representatives from Buddhist nations such as Sri Lanka, India, Nepal, Laos and Cambodia. Sri Lanka and Vietnam issued a joint statement marking President Anurakkumara Dissanayake's official state visit to Vietnam, highlighting a renewed commitment to deepen bilateral, regional and international cooperation. According to the statement, President Dissanayake held extensive discussions with Vietnam's top leadership on a wide range of issues including bilateral relations, regional dynamics and global affairs. Both sides reaffirmed the close friendship and cooperation between the two nations in national development, noting that this partnership lays a strong foundation for further strengthening and expanding ties in the future. Vietnamese leaders expressed their best wishes to President Anurakkumara Dissanayake for Sri Lanka's efforts to achieve economic stability and development, recognizing the country's potential to play a vital role as an economic hub in the Indian Ocean region. The two countries agreed to review and update the Memorandum of Understanding on Defence Cooperation, enhance the exchange of defence personnel and promote collaboration between Vietnam's National Defence Academy and Sri Lanka's General Sir John Kotalawala Defence University. The importance of intelligence sharing and personnel exchanges was also emphasized, particularly in combating terrorism, illegal migration and cybercrime, with both nations agreeing to strengthen bilateral cooperation in addressing transnational threats. On the economic front, both parties agreed to review the bilateral investment agreement, facilitate trade and investment, and finalize a double taxation avoidance agreement to promote stronger economic ties. The two sides also expressed support for launching direct air connectivity between the countries. President Dissanayake requested Vietnam's support in sharing technical expertise to assist Sri Lanka's efforts in modernizing its agriculture sector. Additionally, the President extended formal invitations to General Secretary of the Communist Party of Vietnam, To Lam, and President Luong Phuong to undertake official visits to Sri Lanka. President Anurakkumara Dissanayake returned to the island this afternoon, concluding his official state visit to Vietnam. The President arrived aboard a special aircraft provided by the government of Vietnam.
News First, with the people.
After months of uncertainty and fear, 15 Sri Lankan nationals who were held captive in cyber crime camps, in Myanmar, are finally on their way home. Now, their long-awaited return began today at the Myanmar-Thailand border.
15 Sri Lankan nationals who were forcibly held in cybercrime camps in Mayawadi, Myanmar, were successfully rescued today in a coordinated diplomatic operation involving the Sri Lankan Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Ministry of Foreign Employment and Tourism, and the Sri Lankan Embassy in Thailand. The group was handed over to the Sri Lankan ambassador to Thailand, Vijayanthi Edirisinghe, by Thai authorities at the Mae Sot border crossing. Officials from the Sri Lankan Embassy in Bangkok were also present at the handover. The International Organization for Migration provided logistical support, including transportation, while several non-governmental organizations and both the Thai and Myanmar governments contributed to the safe release and welfare of the victims. This is the third such rescue operation in recent months. On the 18th of March, 14 Sri Lankans were repatriated from similar camps, and on the 17th of December 2024, another 27 were brought home.
For the first time in nearly 2 decades, the president of the World Bank Group will set foot on Sri Lankan soil. On Wednesday, the 7th of May, Ajay Banga will arrive in Colombo for crucial meetings.
World Bank Group President Ajay Banga will arrive in Sri Lanka tomorrow, marking the first visit by a World Bank president to the country in nearly 2 decades. Banga's visit follows an invitation extended by President Anurukumara Dissanayake during a congratulatory call shortly after his appointment in November 2024. During his stay, Banga is expected to meet with President Dissanayake, Prime Minister Harini Amarasuriya and other senior government and private sector leaders. Discussions will focus on strategies to accelerate job creation, attract private investment and promote inclusive and sustainable economic growth. The World Bank Group currently supports Sri Lanka through a $2.2 billion portfolio of public and private sector projects. While recent World Bank assessments have acknowledged Sri Lanka's progress, they also emphasize the need to maintain reform momentum and address poverty to ensure lasting recovery.
In your sports news tonight, a media briefing was held to provide an update on the upcoming ASBC Asian Under-22 and Youth Boxing Championships. Now, this year marks a historic moment as Sri Lanka will host the Asian Boxing Championship for the first time in 57 years.
A media briefing was held to announce the upcoming ASBC Asian U22 and Youth Boxing Championships organized by the Boxing Association of Sri Lanka. The prestigious tournament will take place from the 12th to 23rd of May at the Sugatadasa Indoor Stadium in Colombo, marking the first time Sri Lanka will host the event in 57 years. The tournament will feature over 400 male and female boxers representing 25 countries, making it one of the largest boxing events ever held in the country. Sri Lanka will be represented by 33 athletes competing across 12 women's weight categories and 13 men's weight categories.
ඇත්තටම කිව්වොත් 2028 ඔලිම්පික් වලට අපේ ළමයි දෙන්නෙක් තුන්දෙනෙක්.
Our goal is to prepare and send 2 or 3 of our young athletes to the 2028 Olympic Games and bring home a medal for the nation. Bringing the Asian Boxing Championship to Sri Lanka was no easy task. My team and I have worked tirelessly over the past 12 months to make this dream a reality. We believe we have the potential to win more than 10 medals at this tournament. I warmly invite everyone who loves Sri Lankan sports to come and witness this transformation. This is not just another tournament, it's a turning point for boxing in our country.
මේක තමයි අපේ බොක්සින් අනාගතයේ අපි වෙනස. ඉතින් මම සියලු දෙනාටම ආරාධනා කරනවා.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News for tonight.
But don't forget Newsfirst, First and Fast, our live election broadcast will be brought to you on Sirasa TV, Shakti TV and on our social media platforms on Facebook and YouTube. So tune in to get the fastest election results right here from Newsfirst on our First and Fast broadcast. And don't forget, we will bring you also an in-depth analysis of how the constituents in Sri Lanka have voted at this local government election. Thank you very much for stopping by. Take care and good night.